In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products?
Well, our thriller is primarily a psychological thriller, and the main way that that our thriller challenges the conventions of a psychological thriller is that usually the protagonists are male, um, while our main character is a young woman. She's successful in her finance business, um, and and usually and it's pretty similar to other psychological thrillers like the Double, um, in that there's double, but also um, that the source of um, of all the psychological trauma is unknown. There's like an enigma um, as to what is the cause of her seeing herself standing on the ledge of building. Um, the Our character is also quite well off. She has a stable income, and the point of this was to show that anyone can fall ill, and anyone can succumb to a medical illness, not just the already unprivileged.
Our media product challenges the forms and conventions due to the fact that our main character is a lady as opposed to a damsel in distress, which female characters usually pursued as in any media product. Although our main character, she throughout the film she challenges this only because she's successful and she keeps on trying to um, not not show that she's a damsel because she's a strong character. So throughout it, she's kind of disregarding of what's happening. But that's what makes it so appealing because she's trying to fight on so much as opposed to a damsel in distress would usually instantly be cut off and change into a different story, a different plot. Whereas our film only attracts the audience more and more because she's challenging the conventions by not falling into this category of a damsel in distress, um, but staying strong. And at the end, she does go crazy.
How does your media product represent particular social groups?
Well, the main part of our representation was people with mental illnesses. So our main character Victoria has some unknown mental illness, which makes her see hallucinations of herself. Um, it's usually a symptom of schizophrenia, so that could be it. Um, she's also representing a middle class businesswoman living in London. So people in the audience who are familiar with urban environments would be familiar with the setting of our story. Um, she's also a WASP kind of character. She's white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, which is quite well represented in media. She's blonde, she's white. What kind of media institution might distribute your media product and why?
Media institutions such as the Picture House or Rich Mix, both independent cinemas. This is due to the fact that they list and exhibit low budget and high budget movies and productions, such as either a student film like ours or a or high budget film such as a kind of a Universal Picture or any of the big six pictures. For example, Rich Mix, which is in East London, they show a number of kind of musical events, and the tickets are quite cheap. So therefore will show low budget films, and they're yeah institutions such like that.
Well, our distributor would likely be independent, looking to fund some small name production companies, um, such as the BFI. And they'd fund these, and they'd fund us to produce these films. So the funds for our film would if it were with the BFI, would come from the National Lottery.
Who would be the audience for your media product?
Well, since it would probably only be exhibited in art house films, cinemas such as Picture House in London, the audience would likely be other young adults interested in independent films and fans of the independent style of films, like artistic films. The audience could also be cinephiles, people who are interested in films and film industry, but aren't necessarily linked to the industry in their career. How do you attract and address your audience?
We address our audience, which is listing from ages 17 to 25. Quite a young audience because ours is film noir, and young adults and young people are very interested in film noir productions, which is the fact that it puts them out of their comfort zone, and you kind of get a rush of adrenaline, and when you're put out of your comfort zone, you feel disorientated and uncomfortable, but people get a good thrill out of that. So we tried targeting our audience by doing this and sharing this, but at the same time keep it simplistic, keep it sophisticated. So our audience, although aimed from a young age, but can also attract other type of audience.
What have you learned about technologies from the process of constructing this product?
Well, our main technology was Final Cut Pro in the post-production of a film. I found it pretty easy to use and navigate around. We learnt how to cut up our film into clips, and how to apply filters and texts and transitions. We also learnt how to use a Canon camcorder, and along with a tripod, we learnt how to create establishing shots and panning shots. Attached to our camcorder was also a fuzzy microphone, and we learnt that's as a barrier to background noise, so we'd just have the diegetic sound in our film. And also through Final Cut Pro, we learnt how to incorporate non-diegetic sound through separating the video clip from the sound clip. So by extending the sound of static from our radio, we learnt how to create more, a more effective shot. What have you learnt about technologies from the process of constructing this product?
So I've learned to use a range of hardware and software, such as hardware as the camera, the stand, the microphone, and software such as ScreenFlow and Final Cut Pro. Both very useful applications when editing and for recording your either evaluation or title sequence in this case. Found them very easy to use. At first, we're a bit kind of shell shocked because when you hear of kind of an editing website or of software, you're a bit kind of skeptical. But it was color coded, very easy, and we caught on to it quick. We faced a few outliers when we were using the hardware, so such as we took a big stand, and we took a Canon camcorder onto the tube, and we instantly realised it was quite annoying to carry around, very heavy, and also we weren't able legally to film on the tube because you need a permit. But overall, we've learned many of things from hardware to software.
Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learned and the progression from it to have the full product?
Well, the key difference between our preliminary task and our final task was that the final task was more concise, and we had to be more certain that everything made sense chronologically. So because of that, we learnt how to cut the clip really really closely to make it fit the time recommendation of 3 minutes. Um, and and be- and in our final task, we weren't really that bothered about having it really make sense throughout the whole thing. So, but in our final task, since it was worth more in our marking in our final grade, um, we had to learn how to use more sophisticated techniques, such as separating the video clip from the sound clip, and we also learned to use a higher variety of shots between, because in our establishing task we only had to use a over the shoulder and short of earth shot. Um, so we used a like establishing shot, and we panned across the street later in the film, and overall we just had to learn to be more concise and specific